sure is going.
You got Porzingis, you got Holiday, you got Derek White. You got literally, I would say what? 5 guys can get you 20 points in a game?
I know people will say it's, only one guy. I don't believe that, Coach, that, one guy, those days are over, in my opinion. Like, a Bill Russell, a Wilt Chamberlain.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
You're going a little deep bomb hunting here. We don't care that we have the one heavy favorite with Rory, a couple other guys like Fleetwood and Tagala, etc. You're going to go a little deeper down the board.
This course, I think, is going to play a little bit more to the wedges. They have, what they did is they've renovated it to basically block off some of the bombing alleys for these guys. They've narrowed the fairways.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back, too. I guess this... Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in being down. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with the injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live. We're really live, Kev.
Welcome in. What do you say? Some game time decisions to be made here on a Tuesday night. I'm Kevin Walsh with you live on SportsGrid. Plenty for us to go through here on a full baseball slate as well as some Monday night football fallout. I'd love to help you get a pick on the board just because I know people are going to be looking here to get involved with the action. The Major League Baseball board does begin at 6:40 with 3 different games: Tigers, Rockies, Pirates, Marlins, and a game I'm involved with on over 7.5 Rays, Phillies. It's Ranger Suarez and Taj Bradley going at it here. I'm going to go over 7.5. Taj Bradley has just completely bottomed out, it feels, as the starter for Tampa Bay. That ERA now well above a 4. Posted an ERA in the month of August of a 10, and it wasn't much better. He can go long in some of these games. Went 7 in Minnesota in his last start against Minnesota. Still gave up 4 earned runs. And Ranger Suarez, who I think is kind of the culprit, if you will, for keeping this a lower total, has not been the Cy Young-esque guy that we knew early season, who was pushing that ERA sub-2 for so long. So I'm willing to fade this over here. 7.5 is the pick on the board as we start off with your baseball slate. Let's talk some football now. Last night we were live. We were in the mix with everybody on In-Game Live, myself, Donnie, and Joe. Great halftime coverage and pregame coverage as well from that whole crew. Watching the Niners close out Week 1 against the Jets, 32-19, that final score. And so many different takeaways and feelings from that game. I'm sure for Jets fans and backers, a world of disappointment. The New York Jets had actually had positioned themselves as favorites in that AFC East preseason. But some movement with that loss. But to lock in on the Niners side of it, they lose Christian McCaffrey for game number 1. And it's just Jordan Mason stepping in and being excellent. Jordan Mason was one of the best running backs in all of Week 1. 28 carries, 147 yards, puts a touchdown up on the board. Now, he wasn't CMC, where he only grabs one target or one catch on the one target for 5 yards. He's not the same back. It's not simple, push, plug, and play, but Kyle Shanahan being one of the best offensive minds and this Niners team having so much talent on the offensive side of the ball, we're able to do a lot more than just survive. And what this has done is it's dropped down the Christian McCaffrey Offensive Player of the Year number, and this is a number that should continue to drop. This number is currently plus 950 or was plus 950. It has shifted to 13-1, fourth best odds. No chance. No chance. Wouldn't consider it. I'd much rather bet Jordan Mason to win this award. Legitimately. 150-1. I do not know how you can think CMC. This is a very difficult award to win in consecutive years. And I think Marshall Faulk is the last to do so. McCaffrey has that going against him. You need to have, we've seen it, outlier statistical greatness in order to win this award. Well, McCaffrey is now down one game, and every expectation is he'll be down next week as well against Minnesota. I mean, I've seen some stuff today that people think McCaffrey could be sidelined for months. For months. So, Offensive Player of the Year, I think now you all of a sudden can look at this and say, all right, boom, X out CMC. And that is beneficial for running backs in the market, specifically because now you're not competing against McCaffrey. Saquon's moved to that second choice at plus 950. Bijan and Breece Hall still holding strong at 20-1, despite having underwhelming opening weeks there. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor are all inside this range. You guys know my bet. Devon Achane of the Miami Dolphins at 60-1, moved to 55-1. They'll play Thursday night against the Buffalo Bills, but we're not sure if Devon Achane will play in that game due to a little bit of an injury that was picked up. Let's stick with an award topic, but let's go to Major League Baseball. Ohtani versus Lindor. Now, when we take a look at this MVP race, it is one where the market does somewhat say there's not much here. Minus 900 Ohtani is still a very, very big favorite, right? Plus 550 Francisco Lindor, that number is still a bit of a long shot. You look at the side-by-side comparisons of these numbers here, and to have the WAR listed, I think, is very important. The argument against Ohtani is largely saying, as a DH, he cannot impact the game enough. But wins above replacement, where we have offensive and defensive WAR, right, where being a DH, right, for Ohtani, you would think would limit what he can do. Marcell Ozuna, a DH, has a WAR of about 4.3, narrowly inside the top 10, despite having a triple crown-ish season for Atlanta. So you see the wins above replacement there for Ohtani, and it's also boosted with the 47 stolen bases. That is what's making the difference. I admittedly today, though, have gone through this market more and more and more, and might have even caught myself in an attempt to defend Ohtani, realizing that if you are Francisco Lindor, who's having a fine season in the field, right? The fact that you can even be a contributing player defensively, even if it is not an overwhelmingly contributing player defensively, right? He's not Matt Chapman. But Francisco Lindor still has to do that. There are two sides of the dish. Perhaps for Shohei Ohtani, only being a DH has made life a little bit easier on him. I think that argument is certainly on the board, right? And what I would say lastly is, in some sports, being on great teams is the benefit. Major League Baseball, that's never been the case, based on the fact that Ohtani's won multiple MVPs, and so has Mike Trout. And I actually think that that is appropriate. In baseball, really, being on a team with less around you and putting up great numbers is more impressive due to a team's ability to get around you. Francisco Lindor, and I know the Mets are red hot, and I give the Mets a lot of credit for getting into the rhythm that they've been able to get in. But Lindor is solo standalone in the caliber of season he's having compared to everybody else on the New York Mets. Ohtani's the rightful favorite. I tend to believe Ohtani's still going to win this award. He's going to very likely create the 50-50 club. And things like that outweigh a lot. But as somebody with an Ohtani minus 105 MVP bet that was placed a while ago, I could see myself, and I may just, put enough on Francisco Lindor's plus 550 and be done with the race. Because it is a two-man race. These two teams are in action. The Mets are in Toronto. I don't hate a moneyline play on the Mets. With that number dropping under minus 130, I might even do it myself. Peterson's been awesome this year. Maybe the most underrated pitcher in the National League. Chris Batsis, has, just like the Blue Jays, have completely fallen off. From the LA Dodgers tonight, it is a welcome back to Yamamoto in a superstar matchup against Shota Imanaga. Dodgers a favorite, but it is tough to know what we are going to get from Yamamoto in his return game. You get some eyes there on what the props look like for Yamamoto. Didn't love this game. Nothing jumped off the page, but if I was betting it, I would be betting on Imanaga and the Cubbies on the road, who took the opening game of this series. We'll get a full baseball card on your plate in just a little bit, but some NFL Week 1 overreactions or appropriate reactions. We'll get to those next with you right here. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid on Tuesday night.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards.
That was
Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Three, two, one. We're back.
All right, back to right here, Game Time Decisions. And as I said, I wanted to get some fallout from Week 1 and look at some movement that we've seen in the market. And with the AFC East is where we will begin. 4 teams in action, 3 wins, 1 loss. The 1 loss belonged to the favorite. That favorite was the New York Jets. But not a lot of movement in the market. So we look at the results, and again, shout out the Pats for grabbing a victory. They still sit 29-1. They upset the Cincinnati Bengals. The Jets lose as a 4.5 point dog, 32-19. You get a victory for Buffalo, but no cover on a 6.5 point spread. Josh Allen played what I think will be one of the best games he plays all year, which I think is a little bit concerning. Jags win as well, but also no cover. 20-17, hooked if you bet that 3.5. If you bought it down,
Dolphins
you were able to
Jags.
push. Dolphins, excuse me. Dolphins beat the Jags 20-17. If you bought that hook down, you were able to get a push there, but that was really a 3.5 point number. The movement in the divisional odds, though, have positioned the Dolphins and the Bills plus 180 with the Jets at plus 190. Now, I am in on the Miami Dolphins, but I bet the Dolphins at a higher level. I could have bet their plus 240, plus 250 divisional number, but where I really felt that I wanted to back the Miami Dolphins was to win the AFC. Well, we're going to find out a lot about the Miami Dolphins on Thursday. They will host the Buffalo Bills. They will do so as 2.5 point favorites. And this will be almost a referendum on both of these teams. Now, listen, if it's a great game, field goal, walk-off, okay, cool. But if Miami specifically loses this game, I, as a backer of theirs, will be very disappointed because they have to be able to beat the good teams, and I don't even think Buffalo's that good. Plus, they're getting to play Josh Allen after he was great, and we know at times Josh can struggle with back-to-back games like that. Certainly hard for Josh Allen to go back-to-back games without being picked off. I know his workload was a little bit limited in terms of pass attempts, but the Dolphins' defense should be opportunistic in this one against Josh Allen. But I think that game is what is currently holding back either team from jumping well in front of the Jets. The Jets' Week 2 game is against the Titans, who had what ended up being one of the most disappointing performances of the opening week. When you don't look at pregame expectations, but in-game expectations, to lose 17, to be up 17-0 and still lose that football game. The Jets, a road 3.5 point favorite. This coin flip game in South Beach. The winner will be the favorite to win the East at the end of it. The loser, though, I think will be pushed once again behind the New York Jets, who clearly the books are not looking to give up on whatsoever. So something to keep your eyes on with the AFC East. But I am a Dolphins buyer and backer. I've said it continuously. And in the conference, which is where I bet them at 11-1, that number is 10-1, and they're still comfortably trailing Buffalo, who's 7-1, and those New York Jets at plus 750. In the AFC North, it was a different set of outcomes where instead of the everyone winning other than the favorite, in the AFC North, everybody lost other than the biggest underdog. If you take a look at the North, the Ravens lose opening night to the Kansas City Chiefs, no cover. The Cincinnati Bengals lose an opening game at home to the New England Patriots, and the Bengals were the biggest favorite on the board. The Browns, a home favorite against the Dallas Cowboys, have potentially positioned themselves, as I am sure many people's maybe biggest week one takeaway, oh, this team is bad. And then the Steelers go out there and do their thing against the Atlanta Falcons. Let's just kind of zone in on a couple of spots here. The performance that Cleveland put forward against Dallas, for me, was not surprising. Of every win total on the board, I didn't bet NFL win totals this year. I felt better in just kind of different markets, bigger shots, if you will. There were a few straight wagers that I was involved with. But if I had to place one wager, I said many times it was the Browns under 8.5. Well out on Cleveland. Way out on Cleveland. Watson looks washed. Certainly is not healthy. The offensive line, all kinds of banged up. Defensive regression. So we saw that. Okay. So we think, okay, can that translate? Yes. You then take what Cincinnati did. The team that I bet to win the AFC North. Joe Burrow, awful. Jamar Chase, whole lot of nothing. Ground game, didn't get enough work. But Cincinnati, and again, I'm somebody who just bet this team to win the division. Cincinnati has the makings of a how did this happen team. T. Higgins already injured. Chase looking over his shoulder. Where's the contract? I've heard some people wonder if Joe Burrow's even as healthy as he suggests. Offensive coordinator goes out the door, now the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. I'm trying very hard to not have myself again fall for a slow Cincinnati start. But let's be very clear, Cincinnati is going to Kansas City in a tough spot, and they followed it up by hosting Washington and going to Carolina. So this team, if they don't show up against KC, okay, fine. They better be ready to play football by week 3 because they're going to have some ground to make up. But there's a world that Cincinnati could have a bad year. I am personally out, certainly relative to expectations, on Baltimore. There's kind of a couple of ways you can take that game. Lamar's brilliance not resulting in a win is tough. I know he missed throws. He also had 122 rushing yards and did a whole lot of everything for that football team. But the fact that they needed all of that and they lost was tough. On the other end of it, they were this close to beating the Chiefs on the road in week number 1. But here's kind of why I'm bringing this all up. At times, we talk worst to first, which would be Cincinnati. But who is a team that could be booked with the worst odds and steal the division? For the Pittsburgh Steelers, who looks like they will be starting Justin Fields for the second week. As long as T.J. Watt can stay healthy, that is a top 4 defense in the National Football League. Mike Tomlin's never under 500. They're at a good starting point. To some degree, that Steelers victory is a bye, and they feel like contenders. Let's get the baseball card lined up next on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Back right here, Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid. Let's hit this baseball board. We'll talk W a little bit later on with Coach James Young. That W slate tonight begins at 7:30, so plenty of time to get in. Dream hosts the Lynx. The Liberty are in Dallas, and then it's the Sparks hosting the Connecticut Sun. The baseball board already, we mentioned one pick over Phillies and Rays. Completely selling Taj Bradley. I'm not sure many scenarios where I would be not looking to bet over with the game that he's in that has a listed total of 7.5. And Ranger Suarez is a guy I don't mind fading either. He's just not been excellent in the way that he opened up this campaign of 2024 Major League Baseball. There are a few. I'm actually far more total heavy tonight than usual. The one money line that I did play was on the Baltimore Orioles with a plus 120 price. Clear bounce back spot for Albert Suarez getting the start here for the O's. Absolutely rocked by the Chicago White Sox, interestingly enough, in his last go-around. Gave up 6 earned runs. But close to never this year have we seen Suarez have consecutive starts of that caliber. Only once since we started the month of August did Suarez have what I would qualify as a bad start. It was the very first start where he was only out there for an inning and a third and 3 earned runs. Everything else there was 2 or less. So I think Suarez bounces back. Baltimore's been good on the road. Boston's been bad at home. I'm good about the Orioles at that money line number. The other money line, I would just say, and I mentioned this off the top, but the way the numbers moved, the Mets here at minus 122, we're seeing David Peterson's been awesome. I mean, he has been absolutely fantastic this year for the New York Mets. A 9-1 record, a 2.175 ERA. You look at his earned runs this season, just twice has he allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of his given starts. Bassett's dropped off quite a lot as well. I don't mind that look one bit there. Probably would have bet on my card. Earlier today, I was around minus 130-ish. And I know that's not a big enough difference for maybe some, but for me it is. I didn't like the Jays. I just wasn't in love with the Mets number. I like it a lot more now at that price. Let's get into some of these totals that I'm betting, though. Cardinals-Reds under 8, all right? Now, if you look here with St. Louis, they're throwing Palante, who has struggled this season, but clear and obvious bounce back. 5 earned in his last go-around. We have seen him consistently this year after those blow-up starts. 6 earned against Houston, shutout baseball the next one. 5 earned against the Giants, shutout baseball. 4 earned against KC, 1 earned run. 5 earned against the Mets, 1 earned run. It has been like clockwork for Palante. But I'm not on St. Louis. Rhett Lauder gets the ball for Cincinnati. Only 2 starts. Okay, that's fine. 10.1 innings, just 1 earned run. Only 6 total hits allowed for Rhett Lauder here. We've got a great Palante bounce back, and Rhett Lauder, who's off to a tremendous start for the Reds. I'm involved under 8 in that game. I'm involved under 8.5 Astros Athletics. Now, there's a pitching change in this game that admittedly I just caught. Yeah, right? I know this was supposed to be Beto. It's now Spears. I'm going to need Aaron Getty to hold the load here, who was nightmarish his last go-around. Didn't last the first inning. Not all of it his fault. There were 9 runs scored while he was out there, but only 3 earned to him. J.P. Sears gets the ball instead of Beto, but Sears is actually in a bounce-back spot as well. Gave up 5 earned his last go-around. He's been kind of rotating those give-up spots. Do I like this more with J.P. Sears out there? I like it just as much as what I'll say. Just taking a quick look here. Double bounce-back spot, A's, Astros. I'm on under 8.5 in this game, even with the pitching change. Wouldn't back off this. Obviously, I would be on it regardless when I was, capping this with Beto, but I'm not scared of that one at all. That's moved, and that hasn't moved much, and I don't think it should. I'll take the bounce back with Sears getting the ball tonight for the A's. I'm on a team total over for the Texas Rangers. 3.5 plus 110. So the opposite of a bounce back, right? We'll try and sell high, buy low, if you will. Every other start for Zach Gallen has been a mess now for a while. Simply, Zach Gallen has not had consecutive clean starts since June, May, really, since he came back from an injury. In his last outing, he didn't give up a run. Those have consistently been blowups. We're also betting over 7.5 Giants Brewers. We get Tom Vecchio in the mix with you, Joe Madden, coming up right around the corner as well.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, welcome in live here, Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh joined now by my guy Tom Vecchio. Tom, how we feeling on a Tuesday?
I'm doing great. We are coming off an awesome game last night that I was all over. I was on a Mason touchdown since Saturday when the news came out that CMC was questionable, and I got Mason for a touchdown at plus 980. So I am feeling great today.
Wow. What do you make? Listen, I know we're going to talk some baseball, but what do you make of this CMC stuff? Again, I know you're always very plugged into the fantasy world, and that all translates to betting here. What's the outlook right now on the Niners' backfield?
If he comes back, I'm expecting to be in a limited capacity. Like, we'll get note that he will play, but he'll be on a limited snap count because there's no reason to push him out there for 25 total touches because they want him healthy in December and January. They don't need him healthy right now, but they obviously want to keep him in the flow of the offense, and then it'll be somewhat of a split backfield, which is not something that we would ever say for CMC. So it's a little cloudy right now.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like if you have season-long props on McCaffrey, red flag. Not much you can do about it. Right?
Yeah.
But this is about as bad as it could go because this is also a Super Bowl or bust team, right, Tom?
Of course.
So they're not going to rush him back. It would be foolish if they rushed McCaffrey back, especially with how good Jordan Mason looked in that game.
Yeah, there's literally no reason to. And, part of my process for that game was not only was CMC not healthy, but Ayuk, they said that he was on a limited snap count or decreased workload. Ricky Pearsall's on the PUP list. So I was all over Mason. I was all over Debo coming out of the backfield doing a rushing plus receiving. So I had a great time last night.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it, Tom. Let's put some picks on the board baseball-wise, and then we can circle back with what time is left for football. Where does the baseball card begin for you tonight?
I'm keeping it super simple tonight, at least for a hitting prop with the Twins. They got to get things figured out. Little losing streak. They got to secure their wild card spot. Tight race for them. So Matt Wallner, 2+ total bases at plus 100. Smaller sample size from him this year. Yeah, he missed a good bit of time, but he's got some legit power with the 172 WRC plus, 411 WOBA, and 315 ISO versus righties. Now, he does strike out a ton versus righties, but Griffin Canning is on the mound for the Angels. He has a 17.5% strikeout rate versus lefties. So the thing Wallner struggles with, Canning is not good at. Canning also allows a 468 slugging and a 38% fly ball rate to lefties. So the Twins need to get the offense going. Wallner is great. Royce Lewis is not in the lineup tonight, so like he needs to do his part and just get on base and get their offense moving.
Yeah, I think that race that we have right now in the AL Central has been very interesting. There was a moment where it looked like the Royals were going to make that push, and 6-game losing streak, I think it was. Now they're 3.5 back. You're sitting right now for let's just use the Guardians number here, 144 games in. It's possible. It's not likely, though. And, when you're in that wild card, I know teams have done well, but it's additional games you need to win, and it can make things tricky. Let's go to the National League, Tom. A wild card team certainly in action tonight's the San Diego Padres. They go to Seattle against the Mariners team that was supposed to be in the mix, but the offense never woke up this year. What are you looking for in this game tonight?
That's going to be Yu Darvish under 5.5 strikeouts. He came back last week for his first start since May. Only 63 pitches, 2.2 innings. The hits were an issue. The walks were an issue. So we have seen the Mariners strike out a good amount this year. And I will say it's decreasing in September as of now. It's only at 24% in September. Granted, a 9-day sample size is very small compared to August. Their offense has picked up in September. Again, small sample size. It's up at a 142 WRC plus and a 182 ISO versus righty, which is better than August, which is better than July. So things are slightly trending in the right direction. So I'm taking under on Darvish on the strikeouts. He was only at 63 pitches in that first game. He's probably not going to go past 75-ish in this one. Ultimately, I think they want him ready for the playoffs and healthy for the playoffs. So I'm not expecting a big game from Darvish, and I just want to side with the under and keep things safe. I think they'll pull him early and get to the bullpen, which has been good for the Padres.
All right, fair enough there. A little under action on Yu Darvish. Tom, I know that you're going to be, of course, with the crew on Thursday night. Dolphins-Bills, this is going to be a really, I think it's a really big game. I know it's week 2, but especially for Miami, a team that I am backing, I believe that the Dolphins have to show they can beat what's going to be labeled as one of the better teams in this conference. And I'm not even specifically in on Buffalo this year, so I think that this is even more of a prove-it-to-me spot. Miami will prove it to me that I'm right. What are you looking for early with this game coming up in a couple of days?
I want to buy into players in week 2, week 3, week 4 of the next few weeks who haven't scored yet. High target share guys that just haven't scored. Like we talked about this beginning of NHL season. Like a player's going to score a goal eventually. Like players are going to score touchdowns, and it's just Jalen Waddle. And if it's not this week, I'll be back on him next week, trying to get back to it. Plus 170 for a touchdown right now. Last year, 23.4% target share. He had a 14.8% red zone target share. Both of those were the second highest on the team, behind Tyreek Hill. Surprise, surprise. So I just want to keep it super simple. I think we will see a good amount of scoring. I think live overs are the best way to play this. Maybe a punt to start things off, get a live over 42 would be ultimately my favorite spot when it comes to this game. And also Dalton and Kate, please get involved for the Bills.
Well, let's stick with that for a minute. And again, Tom, I know we're going to have plenty of time to break that game down by the time that we get there. But for Buffalo, just a lack of volume, right? I mean, certainly for Kincaid, you want more of the share, but there wasn't a lot to go around. 23 pass attempts for Josh Allen. It wasn't, the leading in targets in this game was Keon Coleman. You want more, right? If you're a Dalton Kincaid guy, but again, not a lot to go around, Tom.
Yeah, and maybe that's just a factor of it being week 1. Like a lot of teams started off super slow. So, and no Gabe Davis, no Steph Diggs. Like they got to figure out the new passing offense. So figuring out the balance between Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and Dalton Kincaid, and Cook coming in the backfield, like they need to kind of work things out. Ultimately, I think they'll be fine. I don't have any position on the Bills this year. I don't have any position on the Dolphins. I actually have a position on Dalton Kincaid on his yards, but not like a season thing. So I do want Dalton Kincaid to get going.
Are there any other games that you are early putting your eye on, week 2, catching your attention?
Yeah, that's going to be the Colts and the Packers. Big downgrade for the Packers wide receiver room, which I think is one of the better young wide receiver rooms in the league. Josh Jacobs game, that's what this is all about. We saw what Joe Mixon just did to the Colts So if Malik Willis is starting and it's going to be a downgrade to their wide receivers, this is a Josh Jacobs game. They went and gave him all that money. It's time for him to kind of carry the load of the offense if they're not going to be effectively moving the ball in the air. And then on the other side, Adonai Mitchell, the wide receiver for the Colts, 2 big passes from Richardson he just couldn't haul in. We're talking like 30, 40 yards downfield. We saw A.J. Brown break off that big touchdown against the Packers last Friday. So a big A-dot for Mitchell, and a long touchdown is on the books this week.
For me, with Green Bay, I would love to get involved with some of these receiver props. I have no idea what the books are going to do. Malik Willis has never thrown for 100 yards in his career, albeit a small sample size. That's also a crazy low bar that I'm offering up. Not 200, not 180. He's never seen triple digits. So it's fine. Like, I would, in theory, Tom, think Romeo Doubs could be a fade, right?
Yeah.
Because Jaden Reed's the explosion player, right? Dobbs is going to have to kill you with volume. I don't know if there's enough volume to go around. The Romeo Doubs prop might also be 29.5 because Malik Willis is the quarterback, and it wouldn't really surprise me. It's going to be fun to break it all down. Tom, I'm sure you'll be in the mix throughout on Thursday night. I know you'll be rocking and rolling with Casey Hudson right here on our pregame show and halftime and postgame and all of that. Appreciate the help for tonight, Tom.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. You'll see me on Thursday doing all those shows. Keep it rolling throughout the season.
All right, awesome stuff there, Tom Vecchio. Up next, we talk to Joe Madden, baseball board, NFL takeaways with you on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, baseball board is underway. Tigers, Rockies, Pirates, Marlins, and Phillies, Rays. Leadoff double in that game as well, which is nice to see as somebody who is backing over. To help us break down this full baseball board, it's Joe Madden. Joe, great to talk to you here on a Tuesday night. How we feeling?
Feeling pretty good about tonight's MLB slate. I think we've got some great games, Kevin, and I tell you, liking a lot of unders tonight on the slate.
Interesting. All right, I have a few unders myself. We'll see if there are some spots that we line up. Joe, I know this game just is getting underway, but what do you have in Nationals Braves, a big one for Atlanta in this NL wildcard race?
Yeah, it's a huge one here for the Atlanta Braves, and they need to come out and they need to bring everything that they have in this matchup today. And I really do think they do. I'm writing the nerve fee here, the no runs in the first inning. That was coming in at -120. We know the Atlanta Braves have been strong at the mound. They've been having those struggles with their pitching, but I do think in this one, or sorry, with their bats, I do think in this one, that we will see them be able to get a couple runs on the board. Mackenzie Gore coming out here for the Washington Nationals. I'm taking them to lay the 1.5 on the run line. That's coming in at +122. They need this spot so bad. They need a big win here, and I don't think they can sleep on any of these games at this point. So give me the Atlanta Braves here for a big win.
All right, fair enough. A little look with the Atlanta Braves. How about in the Bronx, Joe? The Yankees at home against the Kansas City Royals. It's Marcus Stroman against Seth Lugo.
Yeah, really interesting matchup here. You look at Seth Lugo coming out, and Kevin, I'm starting to get worried about how many innings he has pitched on the season. He's up to 186 innings, and that's the most that we've seen out of him in his career. I'm expecting here for him not to be able to go very deep in this game. I did take him under 17.5 outs. That's coming in at +104. I do think the Yankees can get another win here. We saw the Yankees get the 10-4 win last night, and Stroman really needing that bounce back off his last start versus Rangers, in which they absolutely lit him up. I do think he's better than his 5-5 record and his 4.86 home record here. So I am looking for the Yankees to be able to win this. Now, they're so juicy on that money line, but I do think they could probably cover the run line. I didn't bet it, but I did take Lugo under his outs, and then I looked at Soto here. I'm expecting Soto to be able to hit off of Lugo. His home run is coming in at +330. He's been solid actually in his career versus Seth Lugo. We've seen that home run come in off of him before. So I am expecting him to be able to hit nicely in this game. And for Seth Lugo, even though I do think he comes out strong, Kevin, not to stay in this game too long.
You know, this is one of these games, Joe, and I see kind of maybe it's in line with some of the stuff that you're looking at here. I was wanting to get an over, but it looks like the books were expecting the same. I was a little surprised at that 8.5, -120 over, right? Like, this thing's not even close to a flat 8. I backed off. I think there certainly could be runs in this one, though. What do you think about Toronto and the other New York team? That would be the Mets right now, who have been as good as anybody, maybe the best team in Major League Baseball over the last month or so here. Mets are favorites, but not by a lot. What do you think?
I think the Mets have to get the win, right? They are fighting for a playoff spot here. And the Jays, they're out of the race. All they would be looking to do is play some sort of spoiler here. Chris Bassett, though, versus his old team, has fantastic numbers here versus the Mets. So I'm looking at more of this being an under in those first 5 innings. I don't trust the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen, and I keep talking about this, but it's a bullpen that really lets overs hit so nicely, and I'm not willing to take the over in this one because I don't trust the Jays bats, especially here against Peterson. Peterson has been phenomenally hot. The Mets have been hot, and I do think we've got a lower scoring game. I'm going to look at the first 5. The first 5 under 4.5 runs coming in at -132, but I do think it's the Mets who's able to get the win. Now it's -130-ish right there on the money line. I also think this is one where you could maybe put a sprinkle on that run line. We're getting great value, I still think, on the Mets on the money line, but they roll into Toronto and they're able to get these wins. I don't trust the Jays in a game that really, they're not playing for anything, and the Mets need this tonight. So I think the Mets probably win it by 2 runs, Kevin.
Yeah, I look towards the Mets as well, Joe. I agree. I think it's a good spot for the Mets here. Another spot that it looks like we agree on. I'm on the Orioles money line in this matchup with the Boston Red Sox. Looks like you are as well.
Yeah, you've got to look at the Baltimore Orioles here to have a big win. They need it as well here versus the Red Sox, and this will be them coming to look to get some revenge from that last game out there. Suarez on the mound here for the Baltimore Orioles, and Cutter Crawford coming out for the Boston Red Sox. Now, Suarez absolutely needs that bounce back. The last time he was out, it was versus the Chicago White Sox. And I do think this is a reason why we're getting the Orioles at the price we're getting them at right now, is because of Suarez versus the White Sox. He allowed so many runs. It was 6 runs in 4.1 innings. So he had those struggles in the last game. I'm expecting the bounce back here. And when we look at Boston last night, yes, they came out, they got a 12-3 win over the Baltimore Orioles. You know the Orioles are going to be looking for that revenge factor. So look at Gunnar Henderson for the anytime home run. He's coming in at plus 420. And I think this is a nice price as a dog here on the Orioles. I would expect this game, Kevin, to go under that total as well. We look at Suarez, his starts have been trending to that under, 5 of his last 6. When we look at Crawford, 3 of his last 4 trended to that under as well. So this total is sitting right there at 9. I was a little cautious with playing it, but I did put a tiny bit of money on the under.
Yeah, all right, a little underjuice there. Gunnar Henderson, who did great for us with the season-long RBI prop and an Orioles World Series future that has moved in the right direction, is all you can really ask for with the way baseball is right now. The 14-1 is plus 650 at last look. And what you look for with these baseball futures is if you can beat the number, great, but more than anything, you just want to be in the playoffs. Like my Atlanta Braves NL ticket, I have obviously not done well on the number. Ironically, I bet them due to the security that I thought they provided in being in the playoffs, and are presently looking like they could very well miss the playoffs. I don't care if my 5-1 is now 10-1, or I'd like to see Atlanta in and then go from there. Joe Madden's going to stick around. We go through the rest of the baseball board with you on SportsGrid now.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Calling an audible, Game Time Decisions. We're with Joe Madden. We will get to the rest of her baseball picks. However, I am someone who believes in the Chargers this year. Now, it's relative. It's relative. I think that they will run away from the Raiders and Broncos in the AFC West. I think Harbaugh is going to give them a very high floor. They are the only team in the league who I actually think could win 11 games, and at no point did I consider betting them to win their conference. Really high floor. I don't buy the ceiling. I think week to week they're interesting. I thought their -3 against the Raiders was a good number. I'm seeing their Carolina line is starting to maybe flirt with 7 on the road. Joe, you know the Chargers well. I'm curious your takeaway from the opening week of Harbaugh in L.A.
Well, he made them look amazing out there, and that was a fantastic game out of the Chargers. But we still saw not what I expected to see out of them, but maybe more of what Jim Harbaugh is going to do with this team. Justin Herbert wasn't able to air out his arm, and I don't know if that has something to do with game plan or part of that injury that he's still, I'm sure, bugging him, the plantar fasciitis. So I'm not sure, Kevin, if I'm willing to buy on my Chargers yet. I have a hard time with the overreaction that we're seeing after week 1. Out of so many people, they're looking at teams saying, well, they can go all the way. They can make the Super Bowl. I've heard the Chargers, everyone in the Chargers fan base is hugely excited. And I do believe into the hype, right? Jim Harbaugh is such a fantastic coach. We've seen what he's been able to do with the other teams that he's had. And I do think he has the ability. But can the Chargers stay healthy? Is he able to get this team believing in him? And I do think he is. But until they prove it to me, Kevin, I can't get my heart there with thinking this team can make the playoffs. I still think we're going to see that disappointment and everyone's going to be like, oh, the Chargers are chargering again, instead of everyone saying the Jim Harbaughing again. So we'll see. We'll see what the Chargers can do. They're going to take a lot more to win over this fan, though.
I think that's fair. And also, it's probably not hard to sell. Let me just say this quickly, Joe. I bet the Chiefs and the Chargers to finish as the top 2 in any order of the AFC West at -125. After 1 week of football, I feel even better about that bet. I really don't see a world where those aren't the 2 best teams in the AFC West.
Yeah, I really don't either. You look at the Raiders with Antonio Pearson. He, I thought, would come out with more, and they had those struggles versus the Chargers. I really do believe in their 1 draft pick, Brock Bowers. He looks so strong out there, but we saw those struggles against the Chargers defense, and I actually wonder that as well. The Chargers defense looks so much stronger in that last game, but was it because of the Raiders offense was playing weaker? So I can't wait till we see the Chargers versus an opponent that has a stronger offense out there as well. And this team needs to stay healthy. We know the issues with Joey Bosa being able to stay healthy and on that field. And I just think Justin Herbert doesn't have those weapons as of yet. Yes, Vlad McConkey looked great in that touchdown that he was able to shed a couple blocks out there, but he's small as well, Kevin. So we know Quentin Johnson and Palmer just weren't those wide receivers that Herbert needed the other season. So we'll see. They should be second in the AFC West. But again, I'm not so optimistic as you are.
All right, fair enough, Joe. Let's run through the rest of the baseball card here. White Sox, Guardians, what are you on?
This one, I'm looking at Ben Lively over of his 17.5 outs. I do expect him to stay in this game long versus the Chicago White Sox. I think this is a great one to bet the Cleveland Guardians here. I would lay the 2.5 with them, but Chicago was able to get some runs on their bullpen yesterday. I'd look at a first half if you want to bet the Cleveland Guardians. I like the White Sox team total under 2.5. That's coming in at +118, Kevin. I think this is a nice spot to look at Ben Lively for those outs as well, because you look at his last 2 starts, they were rougher. He wasn't able to put those outs on the board, but the 2 prior versus Texas and the Brewers, he was able to get 21 and 18 outs in those.
Joe, what about this game between the Mariners and the Padres here? Where are you looking?
This one is a straight under in the first 5 innings for me. That total sitting at 3.5. The under 3.5 coming in at +100. We have Yu Darvish versus George Kirby. George Kirby's been so phenomenally strong at home as well. I expect him to be able to go deep in this pitching duel that we will have here. Over 18.5 outs for him, plus money at +162, Kevin.
All right, and then Joe, quickly, Zach Allen tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking at Zach Allen for his strikeouts tonight. I think he's able to get them on the board versus the Texas Rangers in this one. His strikeouts, over 5.5 strikeouts, coming in at +105.
All right, great stuff, Joe Madden. We'll talk some NFC with you next right here at SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that program was only going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, back right here, Game Time Decisions. Quick updates on the baseball board, and then we're going to talk some NFL and some bad teams specifically here. But we've got 1-0 due to Kyle Schwarber's record-setting 14th leadoff home run of the year as he goes deep to get things underway and cashes Yerfy tickets. Those tickets also cashed with an a Parker Meadows leadoff home run for the Detroit Tigers against the Colorado Rockies. You had early runs as well from the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's a yes runs first inning kind of day. Nerfy did come in with the matchup between the Nats and the Braves. Let's just talk some bad teams here. All right, we'll start with the NFC South, and then we'll work our way to another market. With the NFC South, you had the Bucks and the Saints provide two of the biggest routes on the board. Tampa Bay dominated Washington 37-20, and it wasn't even that close. And the Saints buried Carolina 47-10. Amidst all of that as well, the divisional favorites, the Atlanta Falcons, lost to a Pittsburgh Steelers team who didn't score a touchdown in the game. Chris Boswell was in his bag, as was T.J. Watt. Market movement has come. That minus money number on Atlanta is gone. Plus 155 on the Falcons now. The Saints were so dominant, they jumped the Bucks in the process, and a plus 490 number to win the South is now 2-1. I'm not going to say job done, but I'm pretty happy with my Saints bet. A team that I am in on this year, I've mentioned many times. I think the offense can be better. I think the defense could be special. And the defense was definitely special as they beat up and beat down the Carolina Panthers. What I'll say is, if you're looking to bet the South, you have to remember what we talked about earlier on in the show within the AFC East. where I think some of the Week 2 games are dictating prices. If you look for all of those top teams, it would take an upset to get into the win column. Falcons plus 265 on the money line. They're catching 6.5 in Philly. The Saints are a 6.5-point dog against the Cowboys on the road, plus 250 money line. And the Bucks are a 7-point dog, plus 260 on the money line. All of those teams at basically the same price, road dogs here. Now, odds are, right, one of them will actually win the game. That just, if you slap them all in a money line parlay, the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Lions, you get plus 126. Odds are one of them will win. If that ends up happening, the winner will become the favorite. That's simple. It would be very surprising if it was 2-1 from those groups. Very, very surprising. So either you're going to get Atlanta now beating Philly, and they're all 1-1, or you're going to get a 2-0 start, and Atlanta might be 0-2. You're going to get a new favorite in the South. Carolina, though, is also a 6.5-point dog, except Carolina is at home, and instead of playing one of the best teams in football, which is what all those other teams seemingly are doing, they're playing the LA Chargers. And I know I just spoke favorably of the Chargers, but the book's pricing here is not because they believe that LAC's opening a Week 1 victory over Vegas has put them now as legit contenders. It's the Panthers are now believed to be the worst team in the league. Just like that. In fact, the Panthers are now clear favorites, not minus money, but in an island of their own, to have the worst record in football again. This number is plus 260. There were people out there, smart people, who had convinced themselves that Carolina could win the South, could be a playoff team, could be good. I think there were reaches being made by those people. I was not in on Carolina at all. Not at all. Did not think they were a playoff team whatsoever. The schedule did not line up for Carolina. The offense, while it could be better with Canales and a step forward being made for Bryce Young, this team was not in a position to succeed this year. And that has been not just reinforced by a 37-point loss in the opening week, but they lose maybe the best football player on their team in Derek Brown to a potential season-ending injury coming out of the game against New Orleans. That is a big reason for that number moving. The favorite was the New England Patriots, but they beat Cincinnati. I will say on New England, that plus 950 number, I'm a little interested in actually betting it. It feels like too much overreaction has happened. I remember a few years ago where the Jaguars had a Week 1 victory against the Indianapolis Colts and didn't win another game. Ramondre Stevenson, almost every yard he put up on the board was after contact. A salute to him. That's not a sustainable way of offense. And Jacoby Brissett threw for $125. That's not going to get it done either. I think the Patriots can still be bad. But if it is Carolina, I want to tie this to another market. If the Panthers cash what is now a plus 260 price to have the worst record in the league, right? And if you go through the Carolina schedule, okay, which I know we've been kind of showing people there. You know, I like to do schedules in pockets, if you will, right? Grab those first 5 games. They've already lost 1. The next 4. Home against the Chargers, at Vegas, home against Cincinnati, at Chicago. Now, we know there are no favorite spots because this Chargers number showing us that, right? Catching 6.5 here. They're not going to be a favorite in Vegas. They'll probably be a field goal dog. Okay, so what does that now tell us? That tells us Carolina is going to be a field goal plus dog through the first 5 weeks of football. Well, follows. Home against Atlanta, at Washington, at Denver, home against the Saints, Germany game against the Giants. And then they'll hit their bye week, right? How many of those games are inside a field goal? Probably just the Giants game. Doesn't mean they're all right. I'm not telling you that this team's going to lose every game. But there were people already in on Atlanta. People sold Tampa and the Saints too much. The South now is not something they're going to be able to steamroll and push over. This team leaves the bye week Kansas City, Tampa, Philly, Dallas, huh? Huh? It's bad. It's bad for Carolina. They very well could have the worst record in football. Absolutely so. Again, was absolutely never in on this team. Here is my take, though, that I imagine will not be agreed with many. If the Panthers end up with the first overall pick, they should not be drafting a quarterback. I don't care if Carson Beck wins a national title or Quinn Ewers or if Shedeur Sanders figures it out. This roster, specifically on offense, is so far behind the 8 ball. You are better off trading back. I know that's easier said than done. If you are forced to sit there and draft, okay? Take James Pierce Jr., Abdul Carter, if you want some edge rushing talent, Mikael Williams out of Georgia. Take Kelvin Banks or Will Campbell, the great offensive tackles in this game, and let Bryce Young go another year. Think about how bad Bryce Young will probably be. I mean, he was so bad week 1. Think about how bad Bryce Young will probably be if this team has the worst record in football again. And I know many will say, man, how could we sit through that for another year? Well, why not? Cost-wise, there's no reason to run him out of Carolina. Roster-wise, you're not ready to win. It's not like you'd be putting Beck, Ewers, Sanders, Ward, Milroe in a better situation. And if Bryce is that bad, guess what? Year over year, you'll be right back in the quarterback mix. Let Dave Canellis take his time. The more I look at that number 1 overall pick market, the more I actually am starting to believe a quarterback will not go first overall unless we get that trade, which is always live. Coach, around the corner.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Live on SportsGrid, it is Game Time Decisions, and my guy Coach James Young is in the mix. JY, how are we feeling on a Tuesday?
I feel fantastic. I mean, You know what? I know it's football season, by the way. Oh, my Jets. Oh, Lord. But that's okay. That's okay. We got WNBA, and we got some stuff to talk. By the way, Kevin, really quick. I know we talked about this at the All-Star break. Guess who's leading the WNBA in three-pointers made by a wide margin? Caitlin Clark, 111 threes. Enrique, 102. How you doing?
Yeah, Caitlin is going to shatter a lot of numbers in her career, and that's just kind of what it is. She's going to set the most total assists in a season. At some point, she'll set the record for assists per game record. It's been a historic year for the WNBA. Most rebounds for Angel, most points for Aja Wilson. The league is evolving. It's evolving, and it's why we talk about it all the time here. Well, certainly when we can. I know it's obviously been, football, but when we can here on Game Time Decisions. So anyway, let's start with the games tonight, and then we'll get to some big picture stuff with whatever time is left. 7:30 in Atlanta, the Dream, one of these teams that's fighting for a back-end playoff spot here. There's a couple of teams in that race, the Sky, the Dream, and maybe the Washington Mystics as well. What do you think about Minnesota going on the road to Atlanta with a 5.5-point line?
I do like the Minnesota Lynx minus the points here. I think this is a Minnesota Lynx team that's going to try and make sure that they secure that second seed, because then that would mean home court advantage versus potentially Connecticut in the second round. So I do like this Minnesota Lynx team. Listen, they tend to play well on the road. I know they've not covered in 3 of the last 4 games. I know Atlanta's been a team that I've been high on covering in 3 of the last 4. I just like this spot here. I think that they'll find a way to get it done. Big game for them. Give me the Minnesota Lynx minus the 5.5. I think they just get enough to get it done. Remember, kept 2 games they played already this season, both at Minnesota, one by 13, one by 7. I think they win by close to double digits tonight.
All right, so a little bit of love there for Minnesota. How about the Liberty in action here, Coach? They go to Dallas to play the Wings. A team that for a while looked like they were going to be frisky. They have lost 4 in a row, though, Dallas. What do you see here with a near double-digit spread?
Kevin, I want people to understand something here. A lot of this that may come down the stretch, Kevin, I hate to say it, could be tanking because of the 2-year, and we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm nervous about the line, Kevin. So I just went with, how I have my old reliable. I'm going to go with Jonquel Jones, double-double, Liberty to win. I think it's about plus 145. The Liberty are big money favorites. Listen, a team like Dallas Wings, tons of possessions, tons of shots. They do not rebound the ball very well. And then you look at someone like Jonquel Jones getting you 14.7, 9.3. She hasn't had only one double-double in the last 5 games, but every game has been 7 or more rebounds. I think she can get there. Remember, back-to-back games that they played, Kevin, a couple of weeks ago in New York, 23-12, 13-13. I think the rebounds are going to be there. I don't know about the points. So Jonquel, double-double, Liberty to win, plus money on FanDuel.
All right, so a little player performance special there. And then, Coach, late night, it's 11.5 for Connecticut on the road against the LA Sparks. Total checks in for this one at 158.5. Anything you like here?
Yes, but really quick, folks, before I forget. One other thing I like tonight is I like the New York Liberty's team total over 93.5 points versus Dallas. Why? Simply put, 92 versus a Chicago Sky team without injuries. 107. 90 to a Washington team who can't score. 100 to Indiana. 90 to Las Vegas. A 113-110 win over the Sparks. Kevin, they don't play no defense. And the Liberty's as good as they are offensively. I like the Liberty team total over 93.5 points. Just another way to play it. So while I love all the points that Liberty could score, Kevin, I'm going the exact opposite when it comes to Sun Sparks. I'm taking under 158.5. If you think about that, 158.5, it's almost about 80 points per team. You got the slowest team and the best defensive team in Connecticut versus one of the worst offensive teams in the Sparks. Speaking of tanking, they could be tanking right now, Kevin, because if I'm not mistaken, they have a wide margin for them to have the worst record over 2-year span, which gives them a 44% chance of winning the WNBA lottery. So I like it to go under because they're going to slow the game down. They play great defense, and the Sparks stink. Give me under 158.5 in Sun Sparks.
Where are you at on this Sun team? You know, we've talked about them a lot. They're in that pile when you look at the title odds, top contenders. I think the Liberty are now kind of creating their own tier, and then it feels like the Aces and the Lynx and the Sun are all in that next bubble there. Where are you at on Connecticut right now?
Well, my concern with Connecticut, Kevin, is, and we've talked about it all the time, is their ability to honestly, and those are my plays right there, folks, if you want them. But Kevin, they can't shoot. They can't shoot. And I thought that getting Marina was going to help their shooting. I think she has done her part in shooting, I think, from the three-point line, not as of late, because the last 4 games, 28.6%, 20%, 0 of 5 from 3, 1 of 3 from 3. I think when the game slows down, Kevin, who is the person that's going to make shots? I don't like this team. I think if you were to last me right now, if I were to rate them top 5 in regards to how I feel in the playoffs, they're 5th. I'd take Indiana in a series right now over Connecticut.
Let's get into a little bit more. We'll hit some of these big picture items here, including the Indiana Fever, who have clinched a playoff spot, and we know will be in the mix, and a dropping title price that sits at 18-1, 6th best odds for the Indiana Fever. Quick break. We're right back. We've got Coach James Young on a Tuesday here on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was clicking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, we're back with you right here. We're hanging out with Coach James Young, and look, everyone understands kind of we only get the 2-hour game times on Tuesdays for a while now. JY and I are going to make the most of the time that we have. And before you know it, we'll be doing the NBA and everything. But the W has commanded a lot of attention, and we know that the main reason for that is Caitlin Clark. And it's an Indiana Fever team that is 18-1 to win the championship, and it's an Indiana Fever team, JY, that is, since the break, they've lost twice, both to Minnesota, who's proven to be a top 3 team in this league. The question is, because I know you've said, I think they can beat the Sun, right? Which is a very specific, and I know why you say it. When you look at this Fever, though, I mean, how far can this go? Is it a scenario of if they play the Sun and that's about it? Aces will roll them, Lynx will roll them, Liberty will roll them. Where can this go for this basketball team?
Well, Kevin, if you look at it right now, the Fever are the 6th seed, right? I think they could go to 7 depending on what happens with Phoenix, but right now they're comfortably at 6. So that lines up with Connecticut. And then possibly Minnesota. Kevin, that's the draw they want. They don't want to go to 5 because I think Las Vegas will smoke them because Asia will kill them on the boards, right? They're not going to be 8. I don't think they want to be – well, I mean, I guess it could be 7-2 if you want to. Either way, I just think for them, playing a Connecticut Sun team that plays slow-down basketball, who can't shoot the ball from 3, CC is going to steal you a game, right? And as much as we want to give the credit to Caitlin Clark, and let's be honest, Kevin, she has been fantastic, and the Olympic break allowed her to get rest, but also got her a student of the game, Kevin, and people notice, to watch film and figure it out. And that's been the key. But Kevin, the heater that Kelsey Mitchell's been on, no one's talking about. The lowest point output she's had since the Olympic break is 18. She's going 20 plus in every game. She's shooting the ball at a crazy rate, even from 3 most nights. Caitlin also got her Robin, right? She got her other piece that can go get a bucket, and now you can put Kelsey with the ball and put Caitlin off the ball and let this girl cook. With Aaliyah Boston, with Alyssa Smith. Kevin, I think this is a bad matchup for the Connecticut Sun. Remember, they won the last matchup, and they had a close loss, I think, at Connecticut, or at home versus Connecticut, very early on in the season.
So for me, seeing Kelsey find that rhythm, it was one of the selling points. Aaliyah Boston, who had 30 in that overtime win against Atlanta, was one of the selling points. And I think that's one of the things that you have to remember when I placed the bet on the Fever, it was not just, again, and I think anybody who's watching knows this. It's not like I have no idea what I'm talking about. Caitlin Clark's the best, bet the thing, right? Like there's a lot more that went into it. But a lot of it also was Caitlin Clark's ability to step into this league and immediately be one of the most impactful players. And, JY, I don't want to get ahead, but do you think she's going to be the favorite to win MVP next year?
Yes.
Or is it still going to be Aja Wilson?
No, she'll be the favorite. She'll be the favorite to win MVP next year. And Kevin, I'll say this, okay? I put this out yesterday. And I've come around on Caitlin Clark, right? But I'll admit I was wrong in the beginning. Caitlin Clark, you can say whatever you want. 3rd best player in the WNBA right now. She's the 3rd best player in the world. Asia, pretty decent margin. Stewie, Caitlin Clark over Nafisha. Just because of what she's done to rally this team, Kevin, that got off to a terrible start. They are going to be fun to watch, and it's going to be interesting to see how this takes place because I'm going to say this, Kevin. At the end of the day, I don't care what anybody says. That league, every network that does stuff with the WNBA, they need the Fever to make a run. Cinderella needs a story, and Caitlin Clark can fit into them damn shoes.
They needed to have him in. They'll be in. I think Caitlin is comfortably top 10. I would still give Nafisha the edge in terms of top 3 with Stewie and Aja Wilson. Time will tell. Great stuff, Coach Consig, right? Coming up next here, Game Time Decision.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year. Put on play.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Live on SportsGrid, it is Game Time Decisions, updates on your baseball board. Tigers on the Rockies right now. It's 5-0, bottom third here, 2 outs. Tigers are threatening maybe for a couple of more. They've scored in each of the first 2 innings in this game, just smashing Colorado, who they're terrible, Colorado, under the radar due to how bad the White Sox are. Tigers above 500 under the radar because almost everybody is, other than the White Sox, in the Central. We've got 2-0 still in Pittsburgh. 4-2 runs. In play runs. 4-2. Phil's raised. Trey Turner hits a home run. Lovely to see with that. We've got Atlanta up 4-0 on Mackenzie Gore. What is this? Ronaldo Lopez goes 1 inning. Comes across the tap. What is that about? Oh, no. Ray, oh, boy. What is that? What is that about? Is Ronaldo Lopez an opener? Could this team be going through another injury? Another injury, it looks like. Wow. Wow, man. Whew. What a season this has been. What a season this has been. They'll probably just miss the playoffs, right? Where are we at with the Mets and the Braves as it pertains to remaining schedule? Atlanta's in Washington for 2. And then they go to and host the Dodgers for 4. That's obviously not going to be easy. 3 at Cincy, 3 at Miami, host the Mets for 3. Close at home against the Royals. Mets will finish up with Toronto. Then they'll go to Philly for 3, host the Nats for 3, host the Phils for 4. Mets tougher schedule. At Atlanta, at Milwaukee. Mets tougher schedule. Oh, man. Ronaldo. Here's the thing, as a Braves backer, if they get in, right? The only way I could sell anyone they'll do anything is it's baseball. I'd like to give you a better argument than that. But there isn't one. There's no argument that even if Atlanta gets in, they're going to be dangerous other than it's baseball, other than last year the Diamondbacks were in the World Series. That is, it's just tough to see. But it's been that kind of season. It really has. Appropriately decked out in Mets gear, Dave Sharapan joins us here on Game Time Decisions. Dave, the update for people is Ronaldo Lopez goes 1 inning and then leaves that game early. He's already spent time injured this season.
Oh, no.
In-game numbers might be moving a bit, but they're already up 4-0 on Washington. But big picture now, a team that's in this race here for a wild card spot, and at the start of today are not in the playoffs. It's not going to get any easier with another injury added to the table.
No. Boy, it's great to see you. I missed you over the weekend, and, it was football, but now we're on a Tuesday, and we're talking baseball. There's no Dinger Tuesday anymore. I guess they shut that down.
No.
But wild card race is going to be really interesting in the NL. And who's hotter than the Mets? I mean, let's just be honest. I'm not wearing it just for Tarkovsky, for the kid. I'm not wearing it for Vincenzo later on In Game Live. All the Mets fans, they're all coming out, K-Dub.
Yep.
But since June 1st, you know who has the best record in baseball? The New York Metropolitans. The best record in all of baseball since June 1st. They've earned the position to be there. They're in. They're more healthy than the Braves. I feel like, unless Chris Sale can pitch multiple times when he's not supposed to, I feel like the Braves are just running out of time.
The selling point, again, and just off the brief scan that I was able to do, is strength of schedule. The third hardest remaining schedule belongs to the Mets in all of Major League Baseball. Braves are dead even at 15th. It also could very well just come down to 3 games in Atlanta.
Yep.
3 of the final 6 games that these teams will play will be head-to-head. It could be as simple as that. For Atlanta, you're happy you're home. You're not excited to play the Mets.
Right. As long as you're within 3 games, that's enough, right? That's all you need, I think, to at least have a chance.
Yeah.
But the Mets are going to go through that stretch. I mean, they got the Phillies next, and nobody wants to play the Phillies right now. So that's going to be one of those things. But the Mets have beaten everybody on the schedule. Like I said, had a great summer. They're up 1-0 now. This will be fun because it's fun when both New York teams are in. Not going to lie. But, I know at the Walsh house, they'll be rooting more for the Yankees. Right? Like you guys, Huh? What?
It's split. It's split.
Oh,
It's split.
Okay.
It's split. 2 brothers, 2 Met fans. So.
Wow.
They're locked in. Oh, they're locked in. We had a Walsh weekend, a lot of football. The Mets always found their way to be on a phone, a laptop, grab a screen. Mets excitement is real, and it should be. Dave, it's so funny how this happened. So today we were doing money line, and I walked backwards into maybe Lindor should be MVP. I went to defend Ohtani and walked backwards into maybe it's Lindor. Ohtani's got him beat for WAR.
Yeah.
Right? Ohtani's going to create a 50-50 club.
Correct.
Lindor, though, is dragging is too strong, but the Mets have not like this a level of greatness around him, and I do think there is something when you play both. Like, so the funny thing is with Judge, right? Like Judge plays the field, but he doesn't play a good field. But that's something that he has to focus on, and it's something that can take away from what he's able to contribute statistically. Like all in all, Ohtani, give him a lot of credit for what he's able to do with those stolen bases. But Ohtani not having to play the field does make his job easier. I mean, that's just kind of the only way to slice it. And I'm surprised I'm starting to land here. I have the Ohtani ticket, you know it.
Yep.
But Lindor feels like he's got a more than reasonable case.
Oh, he's got a good case. It's like when somebody would have a good year behind Joker, for MVP, or even back in the day, somebody had a great year, but it was Jordan. It was just the best player. I think the 50-50 club trumps everything. I love Francisco Lindor, one of my favorite players across all of baseball, has been since the moment he came up. Absolutely. And he's earned the right to be in the discussion. I don't want to say that if the Mets make it, that will make it even more of a discussion, because look at those numbers. And what he's done is definitely put him on his back, two hands, and carried him. I mean, they're there because of him. So,
but you know what?
But if I got to write my name on the ballot, K-Dub, I'm putting Shohei Ohtani next to my name. I'm not turning it in with Francisco Lindor. I'm not going to be the guy that voted for the National League MVP when a guy did something for the first time in baseball history, and I picked the other guy.
It is interesting, though, that Lindor's case is so based. You have to understand something. Again, we showed those side-by-side numbers. Lindor's batting .269, 30 homers, 84 RBI. It's like situational. He doesn't have top 10 numbers in the league. It's very interesting. We'll be right back.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, we are with you on Sports Grid. The Lindor conversation's a good one. We're having it even during the break.
Yep.
So May 21st will sound arbitrary, and to Ohtani it is, to Lindor, at the end of the 20th of May, he was batting 193, which is obviously atrocious. Since then, Lindor's played 97 games. He's batting 304, 122 hits, 23 home runs, 62 RBIs, 72 runs scored. Ohtani in that same period has played 93 games, hit 33 home runs, 68 RBI, 98 hits, 78 runs. He's batting 264.
Wow.
Here, what's so wild and why this is such a what? The Ohtani case is entirely wrapped up in his stolen bases. Like, if he had 30 stolen bases, he wouldn't even be the favorite. Now, he has nearly 20 more that number I just threw at you. But it's crazy that that's how Ohtani might grab another MVP, because he was the second best base stealer in the league for a season. It's just ridiculous.
Along with the home runs and the RBIs and all that other stuff, Kevin. Like, I mean, I think it's the icing on the cake, right? Like, the offensive numbers are so good, and then you throw in the fact that he's stealing bases at a like 90% clip. I think he's been thrown out 5 times all season. He just got picked off over the weekend, first time all season.
Yeah,
and it looked so awkward. It was like I can't even believe what I'm watching. I was probably one of the only people watching baseball at all over the weekend. I got to ask you though, when you were talking about the Walsh household and the football weekend and all that other stuff, did you see what Northern Illinois did this past weekend? Did you catch that?
Sure did. Yeah.
What was that? What was that?
28.5-point favorite. Notre Dame goes down. This is good because I get to actually flip this question back to you. So I think Marcus Freeman is going to be coaching his last season at Notre Dame. I like Marcus Freeman, but the reality is he would have been better off losing to A&M by about 100 and beating Northern Illinois than the reverse results. He has lost at home now to both Marshall and Northern Illinois. Neither acceptable. Both on the resume is a disgrace. Yeah. And very clearly, because it comes off predictable, is Marcus Freeman in a big game gets everybody up, and then in a letdown game, everybody's down. And you can't have that when you're supposed to make the college football playoff. So I think this is Freeman's last year. With that said, I think Notre Dame then needs a superstar hire. Marcus Freeman was more unknown. They were giving somebody a chance. They were a little surprised, I think, that Brian Kelly left for LSU. So a superstar hire, right? There's only few guys that can actually meet that criteria. BSS today threw out Lincoln Riley. I don't know if Lincoln Riley would leave USC. I've thrown out a few names that I think could be real contenders, but I'll throw one at you, Dave, because yes, you did see it coming. Do you think James Franklin would consider leaving Penn State for Notre Dame?
I didn't even see that one coming. I can't even believe you said that. That's okay. That's fine. Could I see it coming? Yeah, I mean, it would be a good negotiating tactic. He talked about going to USC. He was never going to USC. And now he talks about going to Notre Dame. I think he'll have a tougher time at Notre Dame. Maybe he'll talk about it. Would he go? I don't think so. I don't know. The Big Ten is where it's at. It's the Big Ten and the SEC, and Notre Dame is going to have to make a decision at some point to be where it's at. I mean, like you talk about the odds. Let's take as much money as people want to bet on Notre Dame to win a national championship right now. I'll let you make the price and let them come in, and I'll give you, I'll build a bonus into it if you make the right price and you get anybody. Because do you think between now and December 1st, we take a bet on Notre Dame to win a national championship?
Yeah, you'll take some. I'll say a lot of them have probably already happened. of people trying to, hey, what if they were on the table? Schedule's still easy. Here's the thing, by the way.
We need to start that if that's the case.
Well, the schedule. So this is kind of what I've been saying about Notre Dame. Is the schedule easy? Sure, but what does it matter if they don't win the games? Like, I kept saying, like, they're going to Purdue. Like, the whole gimmick is Purdue upsets top 25 teams. Like, the only reason now that I can't imagine Purdue beating them is they just lost to Northern Illinois. Very clearly, if they beat Northern Illinois by 15, whatever, they would have just lost to Purdue. That's just how that would have gone, right? So the reason, I don't know, it's so bizarre. People are like, no, if Notre Dame wins out, they shouldn't be in the playoff. If Notre Dame wins out, we'll have that conversation. Where is the evidence they're going to win out?
Correct.
There's no evidence of that. There's no evidence of that.
Here, they got Florida State, and they got USC, which are the hard games, perception-wise.
Right.
They just lost to Northern Illinois, which wasn't supposed to be a hard game. 28-point favorite. They're all hard when they're Notre Dame. They're good, like you said.
Correct.
They could go to Purdue and lose this week, but the way it sets up, they probably won't. They probably won't cover, right? Like, that's one of those
10.5 tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Notre Dame doesn't play FCS teams because by being an independent, they can't schedule those teams, right? Now, the thing for Notre Dame is if it comes to it and they have to join a conference, unlike Clemson and FSU who get told to kick rocks by the SEC, the Big Ten or SEC would 1,000,000% do whatever they need to put Notre Dame in. Notre Dame still carries that type of weight.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I'll throw names at people, we'll hit the break, and then we'll get to some other stuff. All right? I think Chip Kelly, offensive coordinator at Ohio State.
Ooh.
Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator with the Chargers, was at Michigan. Ryan Grubb, offensive coordinator of Seattle, was at Washington. And maybe my new personal favorite, Ryan Dable, after the Giants fire him when it's not his fault and they pay Daniel Jones, who's absolutely garbage. We'll be right back on Game Time Decisions.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, we're back with you right here on Sports Grid, man. Texts are flying in. Dinner plans are being made. We got 6 minutes to burn here with our guy Dave Sharopan. Can say great to see you on a Tuesday. I know you got in-game live coming up, but we don't get a lot of time, so I might run this close to the clock. Tell me, yesterday's NFL slate or the weekend's NFL, was there a game that you said, okay, maybe I need to change my perception of this team a little bit from what I thought to what I saw?
Well, Pittsburgh's defense was so good, but that might have been attributed to Atlanta's offense. Tennessee was the right side of that game. You play it 100 times. They win it 97 times, I think. And just not sure what to make of Levis, who was in a position to win the game, not lose it, whatever he did, and then he lost it. The Giants are really a bad football team, K-Dub. Like, they're a really bad football team. And Dable may look pretty good in that Irish garb and on that sideline, because I don't think that's fixable. Like, I thought Washington might be the worst team in that division. I know now the Giants are the worst team, along with the Carolina Panthers, in football. In football. That's one of those ones that the survivor pick, if you somehow didn't pick Cincinnati, which to those of you that didn't pick them, you survived, you're going to pick against the Giants or against Carolina, at least for the next couple weeks, because there's nothing that I think could fix either one of those teams. Always looking for the bad teams. It's easier to figure out the bad teams early. I don't know who's good. Is Miami good? Maybe. Buffalo, we might take down a notch. I don't know what to make of the Jets. That's the first game for him. So I'm not sure yet. Houston, good. A little bit more impressed with the Colts, K-Dub, than anticipated. I think their power rating might have been at least maintained or bumped up a notch. Are you ready to put the Saints as the NFC South winner?
Dave, who do you think that I bet to win the NFC South?
I hope you bet Tampa.
No, I bet the Saints. Come on now. Plus 490. It's down to 2-1. Come on, man. You know what it is? I just realized something. Nah, listen, you're going to be late. It's fine.
Why?
I did the futures on a Thursday, and you weren't here. I didn't get to run through the futures with you.
I didn't go over.
All right. All right.
I can't see nothing.
Saints to win the South. To win the South. Obviously, that won as well as it could. Cincy to win the North. Nightmare. You don't lose that game. What a disaster. That team might be terrible. Caleb to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He was awful, and I feel even better about it. I think the Bears are a playoff team. Let's see, what else did we play? I'm trying to make sure Chargers Chiefs to be first and second
1-2
in any order in the AFC West. Feel great about that. I think Harbaugh gets the floor really high. I have a conference ticket, a Super Bowl ticket. Conference ticket, Dolphins, 11-1 AFC.
Okay.
I think the defense will be much improved this year. I was encouraged by week 1. I know a lot of people felt like they deserved to lose that game. The defense made a play. Offense capitalized. I like what I saw. I think Jacksonville can be sneaky. The Super Bowl ticket. Dave, what did they call me? Come on now. Most unbiased man, history, sports media, 14-1. Call it like I see it, Philadelphia Eagles. I think that's the best number on the board. I think it's the best number on the board, Kinsing.
I was going to guess
it's the best number on the board.
I was going to say, did you say the Eagles? Eagles. That was my guess.
Come on.
You are unbiased.
Come on now.
That's fine. Okay, well, nothing yet to adjust on the game. Quit playing games on neutral fields in different countries if the field ain't right. That was my takeaway from the Eagles game.
Yeah.
They played on a skating rink.
Great take.
I don't even know what that was.
Great take. Great.
I gotta
Listen,
go do this show.
It was crazy out there. Can say great as always. We'll do it again. We'll talk in-game live. They got you covered all night. Let me run through that baseball card again for people too. Nobody needs to hear me break down that Eagles victory in Brazil one more time, even if I was jazzed up. Oh man, that was a reinforcement game. People were watching and like, "Ooh, Hurts thinks." I was like, "No, kid's got juice." Ooh, the defense is fraudulent. Disagree. Quinyon Mitchell, I wouldn't test that kid. Toledo's very own. Go Rockets. We don't say that enough. Orioles money line, it's already got underway. Cardinals, Reds, under 8. Astros, A's, under 8.5. Rangers, team total, bang it. We fade Zach Gallen. Giants, Brewers, over 7.5. Birdsong, sing it. Savali, terrible on the road. Juice this thing up. Oh, wow, it's been fun. Baseball, W, we did a little bit of it all. But next time, we're doing Dolphins, Bills. Ooh, baby, I'll see you on Thursday. In-game live is next.